all of you here to our annual celebration of our students, our family and friends, our distinguished guests, our faculty, and especially our class of 2001. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm June Harris. I'm an associate professor of teaching and teacher education here. And those of you who are accustomed to coming to these events on a regular basis will realize that you have not seen me in this position before. This is ordinarily done by Dr. Jim Duncan. Dr. Duncan, however, is retiring this year, and at present he's in Mexico kicking back, and I really wish I were down there with him. I want to welcome the first graduating class of the new millennium. Now, I know that some of you think I'm mistaken about that. You thought last year's class was the first. Wrong. They were the last class of the last millennium. This is the first class of the new millennium. Now, if you think that I'm wrong about this, you do have some options. Number one, you could check with Dr. Frank Zietza, our mathematician. I assure you the man knows how to count. We could get you back to Cochise for a remedial math class, or even back to Buena for that matter. Or you could move to Florida, where being able to count isn't a requisite skill. I would like to introduce you now to our distinguished guest. I will start with the first row on my left. And I would ask our guest, as I introduce you, if you would stand so the audience might get a good look at you, and so that it would cue me if I've made an egregious mistake. First is Dr. Joyce Davis, who is Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost of the University of Arizona. Next is Regent Judy Janak, member of the Arizona Board of Regents. Mr. Terry Pohl, Vice President of the University Foundation of Sierra Vista. Dr. Joaquin Ruiz, Dean of the College of Science. Dr. Karen Nicodemus, President of Cochise College. In the second row, Dr. Renee Humberg, Superintendent of Sierra Vista Public Schools. Mr. Gabriel Ortiz, undergraduate speaker, who is graduating today with a Bachelor of Arts in Education degree. On my right in the first row, Dr. Randy Groff, Dean of the University of Arizona South. Dr. Linda Blessing, Executive Director, Arizona Board of Regents. Mr. Steve Jewett, Director of Southern Arizona Office of the Governor. Dr. Richard Arribas, Dean of the College of Agriculture. Pardon me? What did I say? Oh, architecture, sorry. I can't read my own writing here. The Honorable Pat Call, member of the Cochise County Board of Supervisors. Mr. Mike Ortega, City Manager of the City of Douglas. In the second row, Mr. Craig Johnson, President of the University of Arizona Alumni of Sierra Vista, the Wachusett, and Acting Associate Dean in Student Academic Support. Dr. Frank Zietza, Associate Professor of Mathematics and President of the Faculty Forum at UAS. At this time, Mr. Steve Jewett, representing Governor Jane D. Hull, will read a letter from the governor.
The governor is very sorry she couldn't be here today, but she's being held hostage by the legislature as we speak, and hopefully she'll be able to do this in the future. But she did ask that I would come and read a letter to you. Congratulations. On behalf of the citizens of the state of Arizona, I would like to personally congratulate the graduates of the University of Arizona South at their 2001 commencement ceremony. This outstanding accomplishment is a profound reflection of your dedication to education. I am pleased to have the opportunity to recognize the graduating class of 2001 for your hard work, perseverance, and commitment. This commencement ceremony is only the beginning of a new and exciting stage in your life. These graduation festivities are certain to be a source of many happy memories for you and your families, friends, and the faculty who saw you through your academic challenges. Once again, congratulations and best wishes in all future endeavors. Sincerely, Jane D. Hull, Governor.
There's a line in a situation like this that people use that's become a cliche in introductions to say that the next person needs no introduction. Then, of course, they go right ahead and do it anyway, which is what I'm going to do. I'm introducing to you at this moment Randy Groth, who is the campus dean. Randy Groth is the dean of this institution and has been for 10 years. He is, in fact, the only dean this institution has ever had. But calling Randy a dean in the usual terms is equivalent to saying that Tiger Woods is a guy who plays some golf. Well, yeah, and no. He is the dean. He is also, to some extent, the pulse of this campus. He's our CEO, our chief lobbyist, our knight at arms in tilting with main campus windmills, our conniver, our manipulator, our visionary, and our head cheerleader. Randy Groth is one of the most optimistic, upbeat, energetic people I've ever known. Faculty here are actually convinced that Randy was a hyperactive child. They base this on the knowledge that he's a hyperactive adult. Watching Randy Groth makes me tired. Following him around makes me exhausted. That said, I have to own that he's probably the best boss I've ever had. He walks into my office and I've got my shoes off and my feet up on the desk and I'm playing solitaire on the computer and listening to Marilyn Manson on the headset and peeling chocolates and tossing banana peels on the floor, and all he ever says is, "Hey, I want to talk to you about..." Of course, he does steal the chocolates, but I suppose it's a small price to pay. I could recite for you his credentials at length, but they'd never give you any insight into the person. He's a unique and most valuable commodity at UAS. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask a warm greeting for our dean, Randy Groth.
Thank you, June. I'll try to tone this down just a little bit. Regent Janak, Provost Davis, distinguished guests, friends, faculty, staff, administration, family, and most importantly, graduates. It gives me great pleasure to be here again. It has been 10 years. This is the 10th commencement that I've attended and played a part in. This gives me great pleasure. There's a sense of pride when I look out here at the graduates. We have 86 graduates this year. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to talk about the things that have happened in this community, that have built this university. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank the faculty enough. It's just wonderful. I do have two announcements that I would like to make, though, and these were major accomplishments in addition to this class, this graduating class this year. We had two other major accomplishments. This year, we had another individual that received tenure, and I would like Dr. Joni Adamson to stand up because she is now the associate professor with tenure. Congratulations, Joni. We also have an individual who I understand is down in Mexico fishing right now. We have our first emeritus. Dr. James Duncan was awarded Associate Professor Emeritus, the first emeritus faculty member at UA South. So give him a round of applause, please. You know, trying to describe the enthusiasm, I remember last year, Peter Likens came down here as president, and had prepared this speech. It was a real thick speech. Came up here, sat down, was called up to speak, and looked out in the audience and saw a placard that said, "Congratulations, Grandma." Closed his speech and talked about Grandma and the graduating class for the year 2000. It is so interesting how that enthusiasm carries over into every graduating class we have. And I want to tell you a story about an individual. Is Gabriel Ortiz around here? Gabriel, would you come up here, please? I did not know that Gabriel was going to be the student speaker. But I ran into Gabriel maybe about 4 or 5 weeks ago in the men's room. And he was there, and man, he was bouncing off the walls, and he was enthusiastic. And it happened to be the day that we had a meeting with all the school districts in Cochise County. And so all the school districts were in, their personnel directors, they were all looking at our graduates and the opportunity for future employment. And this, every one of you has the face out there. Okay, now I've gotten to this point, I'm at a new plateau, I can see the new horizon, I have a clear vision of life, and then all of a sudden somebody says, you gotta get a job, and all of a sudden it all goes to waste, and you start to sweat, the pins in the back of the neck, the armpit, you know, the whole thing starts to take place. This young man was bouncing off the walls in the men's room. Now, our men's room is not very big, and it's been a complaint over the years that it's not that big. But he was talking about how he's here and the job opportunities and this and that, and that the school district here is looking for 50 new candidates to come in and teach, and all the school districts are doing the same thing. And the enthusiasm was just wonderful. And so he kept saying, I hope I get a job, I hope I get a job. Well, I have to tell you, Gabriel did get a job. And I also have to tell you that 53% of our graduating class has a job right now, and they haven't graduated. They're graduating tonight, and they're already fully employed. And we have anticipated that it'll be 100% employment by July 1st. If we are not fulfilling the need in rural Arizona and providing employers with opportunities, and employees are graduating from the University of Arizona South, I don't know what we're here doing. But I also have to present Gabriel with something else. In addition to the diploma that you're going to get tonight, Gabriel, I called Jenny Craig. And the University of Arizona is here not only to build sound mind, but also sound body. And I understand that you lost an excessive amount of weight over the last 2 years. And so calling Jenny Craig, it was only appropriate for me to present you with this certificate of achievement and a bill for $250 additional fees that we have not gotten approved of the Arizona Board of Regents, and I guess we could take a vote tonight to do that, and we expect that to be paid post-haste for this whole body thing that we've done for the last 2 years too, so congratulations. In closing, I just want to say this. You're going to be faced with a lot of decisions over the next few years and for the rest of your life. And those decisions are going to be based on the choices that are presented in front of you. And I want you to go back into history and look at some of the great people in this country, some of the great teachers, some of the great entrepreneurs, some of the great business people. And I want you to look at the choices that they had to make and the decisions they had to make based on the times and where they were. I want you to look forward from this point. For those that are graduating at an undergraduate level, I would like for you to look toward graduate school right back here at UA South. And for those that are getting your master's degrees, look forward to the future. Take what you've learned here in mind and body, take that into the future, make the right choices. The world is at your feet. Make the right choice and take it. God bless you, and I'm very proud of all of you. Thank you.
Our next speaker, Dr. Frank Zietza, is an associate professor of mathematics, our first mathematician to be hired on this campus. Frank started here last fall. He came to us from Willamette University in Oregon. He has a PhD in math from the University of California at Berkeley, a fact that alone intimidates me beyond belief. Frank has rather impressive academic credentials, and he's been also making a name for himself in the community with his interest in and work with groups of astronomers. I had to be careful not to say astrologers. He doesn't do horoscopes. Last year at the faculty retreat, we found ourselves in a rather difficult position. The woman who was supposed to become president of the faculty forum had taken a position in administration, a move rather considered to be somewhat despicable. The president-elect had taken a job elsewhere. The faculty was somewhat leaderless, and none of the members were either able or willing to assume the faculty presidency. So faced with the possibility of no leadership at all, Frank volunteered to take on the job his first year here. Bless his heart, he had no idea what he was getting into. I don't have to tell you how thankless this job is. You have only to note that he was left out of the program to get a glimpse of that. That said, he's done a splendid job, and the faculty here have been grateful for his efforts on their behalf. Here to present the faculty address is Dr. Frank Zietza.
Thank you very much, June. Today is definitely an occasion for celebration. Right now, these moments, you are graduating. You've done it. Congratulations. The president of the faculty at the University of Arizona South is graciously given the opportunity to speak at commencement. But this year, the president's position was omitted in the printed graduation program. As a consequence, earlier this week, I was given the chance to withdraw from giving this graduation address. What faculty member worth his or her salt would give up the opportunity to deliver the final lecture of your collegiate career? My lecture will be short. If you're anything like I was at my own graduation, you're wondering where the time went. Can it really be over? On the other hand, you're ready. You're eager to get back out into the real world. You've had enough homework, and you've taken way, way too many exams. Certainly, a lot has been asked of you. We, faculty, know that as well as anyone. But you've made it. You are the true survivors. You have survived all the challenges put to you by the faculty, not to mention those put to you by your family and by your employers. And you have excelled. Witness the wonderful array of dignitaries sitting up here on the stage with me. They've traveled great distances today to come here and celebrate with you. You leave us with prospects of new jobs, higher salaries, more responsibilities, and greater obligation. If you're anything like me, there may come a time in the future when you long for the simple days of homework and examinations. It might even happen after a time that you will look back on your days spent here with fondness. Certainly, you will always view your accomplishments here with great pride, and justifiably so. My message to you is this: don't lose your curiosity. Don't lose your capacity to learn. Don't lose your willingness to ask questions and to question authority. For those are the things that make you different. Those are things that can be lost. How can you prevent losing these things? Well, that's the point of homework. And my lectures always end with a homework assignment. So here is your last homework assignment. There are two parts. First, make a difference. I know many of you. You're good people. You will make a difference in the lives of your family and your friends. My charge to you is to make a difference to the lives of some strangers. Get involved and stay involved with our schools, our churches, our community, our state, our nation, our world. You are the ones with the tools to make the difference. Second, please come back and visit. I know I speak for the faculty as a whole when I say you are a part of our lives. We faculty have spent a great deal of time learning about you. We have spent a great deal of our energies to make you curious, to increase your capacity to learn, to teach you how to ask questions, and regrettably, to question our authority. We miss you when you leave. Please drop us an email and let us know how your careers, your families, your lives are turning out. You are always welcome to come back and visit. I'm sure you're familiar with how your home becomes very quiet when some dear family member or friend leaves following an extended visit. Well, the faculty offices are going to be very quiet indeed this next coming week. For the entire faculty, good luck, best wishes, and goodbye to the class of 2001.
Our next speaker, Gabriel Ortiz, is the pride of this ceremony and a student who, according to his nominating letter, truly represents the spirit of UAS and the mission of our campus. I'd like to read a bit from that nominating letter written by Dr. Mary Lee Sheldon. Gabe Ortiz was born in Germany, the son of a Puerto Rican military father and a Panamanian mother. Gabe's mother was raised in a rural village without electricity. She finished grammar school by riding her horse 5 miles one way to attend classes. She encouraged her children to attend college and to remain bilingual. She taught them the American work ethic so they could succeed. I could continue with illustrations of Gabe's accomplishments and initiatives, his service activities. I will say that he has a 4.0 GPA. He is an organizer of the Academic Honor Society, Gamma Beta Phi. He is wearing that gold tassel of that organization today. We're sending him out to be a teacher of history, and his student teaching has indicated that he will be a splendid history teacher, a credit to his family and to this institution. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gabriel Ortiz.
Thank you, Judy Janak, Dr. George Davis, Dean Groff, Dean Harris, distinguished guests, faculty, fellow graduates, family and friends, and especially my parents. When I was first notified that I was chosen to be the student speaker, I was overjoyed and honored. I wasn't sure why I was chosen until I read the wonderful recommendation Dr. Sheldon wrote about me. To be honest, I had to read it twice just to make sure she was talking about me. You see, I never had a time to celebrate my accomplishments because I look at life as a series of races, with each race symbolizing the struggle and effort toward a goal, and each lap symbolizing an accomplishment. When you're running in a race, you don't have time to congratulate yourself on each lap around the track. You just have time to count it. And by the second or third lap, you want to stop running and just watch. You want to stop running because your lungs start to burn, your body starts to ache, and you get too exhausted to care. Well, the same thing happens when you strive toward completing your degree, especially when you are like a lot of the students who are graduating this year who have to juggle families, careers, extracurricular activities, along with their coursework, such as exams, observations, research papers, and oral presentations. Any added pressure is just enough to push you right over the edge and make you just quit. I mean, there were many times where I just wanted to drive to the administration building at the University of Arizona main campus and climb to the top floor just to find a building tall enough for me to jump off of and land smack in the pansies and petunias bed. I'm sure everyone who's graduating today has felt this way at one point or another during their race towards graduating from the University of Arizona South. When I feel like quitting, I just think about a poor young kid from Carolina, Puerto Rico, who had a dream to become a professional baseball player, even though his father said he was too old to keep playing ball. He not only played professional baseball, but after an automobile accident in 1956, he had to do it while suffering from a number of injuries and ailments, such as back pain, stomach disorders, and tension headaches. He overcame all these obstacles to become the first Hispanic baseball player to make it to the Hall of Fame. His name was Roberto Clemente, and he said, "I like people that suffer, because these people have a different approach to life from the people that have everything and don't know what suffering is." You see, it was difficult for all of us graduating today, but the experience will make us better people. We all understand that to become successful, you must first decide what you want out of life, then be disciplined and organized enough to set goals and constantly work towards those goals on an everyday basis. And remember, if you don't set goals, you are doomed to set and fulfill the goals of somebody else because they reap the benefits of your labor. Well, class of 2001, we are headed toward the end of the race. But remember, this winner's circle marks the beginning of a new race and the need to set a new goal and celebrate a series of accomplishments down the road. I challenge all of you when you join the workforce to push your peers, and if you're an educator, push your students, and above all else, push yourselves to be the very best that you can be. Since this is our commencement day, it's only fitting to say, I salute you for your accomplishments. As the Apostle Paul told his student Timothy as Paul was brought before Nero in Rome, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. I look forward to my reward. Thank you.
The Master's hooding ceremony will be conducted by Dr. George Davis and Dr. Randall Groth, assisted by Dr. Phil Callahan, Dr. Ruth Claros-Karchner, and Dr. Sue Evans. Marshals, prepare the students for the Master's hooding. Introductions of the graduates will be done by Dr. Joni Adamson and Mr. Craig Johnson.
Marcia Rose Bruno would like to thank, as she walks across the stage, this is what she wrote in her acknowledgments. Thank you for your support and love. Thank you for believing me. I love you, Steve, Rose, and Mel. And Lisa, to Paul, I might have given up if it wasn't for you. Thanks for proofreading all of my papers.
Sandra K. Soretta. Sandra would like to thank her husband Joe and preschool graduate 2001 Sarah for all the support and love, and Dr. Evans for the real challenges.
Bernadette Christian Harris thanks her husband John for support, her special friend David for encouragement, and Lori and Carolyn for being special friends. Also special thanks to Dr. Evans and Dr. Callahan.
Marianne Doty Rizzo would like to thank her family, Mike, Jack, and Peter, and her GPA was 4.0.
Tom Daly would like to thank his parents, his wife Chris, and his daughter Kim.
Kevin M. Mott would like to thank his family and mentor, Phil Callahan, and to the Intelligence Center for making this possible.
Frank Charles Johnson would like to thank Jackie and his family for putting up with all of his griping, studying, and not being there for them for the last few years. He writes, I didn't get to spend much time with them while completing the graduate program, and now I'm going to spend much more time just enjoying the company of my family.
Ronald Davis Sr. wishes to thank God, his family, and Dr. Phil Callahan for all of their support and patience.
Stuart Eagle writes, I thank my lovely wife Cindy and son Philip for their patience while I was preoccupied with school. I am also grateful to the many Christians at Thunder Mountain Community Church for their encouragement. I also appreciate Dr. Callahan's wisdom and guidance. Thank you.
Gerlinda Gainey. Gerlinda says, my U of A experience has been a very enjoyable and great learning experience. I would like to thank specifically Dr. Claros Karchner for all of her superb instruction and support and encouragement throughout the bilingual multicultural education program. Dr. Ruth proved beyond a shadow of doubt that you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Billy Yvonne Gilmore, whose GPA, by the way, was 4.0, says that she would like to thank her entire support system.
Marshals, prepare the graduates for presentation of diplomas. Presentation of diplomas conferring and conferring of the degrees and certificates will be done by Dr. George Davis, Dr. Randall Groff. They will be assisted by Representative Janak, Dr.
Rodolfo would like to thank his mom and dad, sisters and brother-in-law, nephew and niece, and aunts, uncles, and finally, Jolene.
Thomas J. Mayer, Jr.,
Kelly Maureen Hale. Kelly would like to thank her parents, Dr. Joni Adamson, Dr. John Krugerberg, and Mimi Reyes Latarte.
Veronica Elizabeth Oliveras would like to thank her parents, sister, husband, and aunts, and Dr. Adamson and Dr. Lutz.
Stacy Lavorne. Stacy would like to thank her parents, John and Linda Swanson, for their support and for moving to Sierra Vista 2 years ago to help me with her daughter while attending school, and would like to thank her daughter, Christina, for being patient during her many hours of studying and all her friends who put up with her throughout all of this.
Colby Bowser would like to thank all of his family and friends.
Denise Ann Buensolido would like to thank John Buensolido, her husband, who has been so patient and supportive, Alex and Gabriel, her children, for being good and helping out, her mother and sister, who are very supportive and encouraging, and all the rest of her family and friends who put up with her.
Isla M. Franco would like to thank her parents, Ruben and Margarito Franco.
Ruth Christine Chris Gonzalez would like to acknowledge her husband, Victor, and 3 children, Justin, Victor, and Ashley, for having patience with her and why she had to study, for their understanding of her desire to continue in education. She'd also like to give special thanks to her mother and dad for all of their encouragement when she felt like she could not go on. In addition, she would like to thank Dr. Jacobs and Kevin Thomas for the best instructor she's had.
Linda V. Lucas Weeks would like to thank Dr. Jake Jacobs, Kevin Thomas, her mother, friends, family for her help during all the problems she has had during the last 2 years.
Virginia E. Conero would like to thank her family, Billy Jr., David, and Lisa for their support, her teachers at Cochise College and U of A South, Mrs. Cummings for her cooperating teachers for her guidance and support during her student teaching experience, and her colleagues and new friends that she met while at U of A South.
Julie DeQueer graduates with a 4.0. She would like to thank her husband Don and their 4 sons for always believing in her and showing it through their consistent support and understanding. Thank you to many friends for your prayers and encouragement, she writes. You are my constant support and cheering section. Thank you to my cooperating teacher, Inger McGee, and the staff at Huachuca Mountain for excellent training, to the professors of UA South and Cochise College for sharing their expertise, and thank you, Father, for this call you've placed on my life and for enabling me to fulfill it.
Kate Fry. Kate would like to thank her husband, Douglas, for always believing in her, her 5 children for going without so much and sacrificing so many times so that Mom could stay in school, Mary, Crystal, Hiram, Sam, and Jennifer. Mamaru loves you. my professors at U of A, especially Dr. Harris for opening my mind to new possibilities, and my Savior Jesus Christ for being there.
Catalina Jacobs would like to thank her parents, siblings, family, and friends for their encouragement and support, along with all of her teachers. Gracias.
Jessie H. Martinez. Jessie would like to thank her husband, Frank, and sons Patrick and Jacob for all their help and encouragement. She would also like to thank all the instructors at the U of A and her cooperating teacher, Lydia Esqueda, for helping her to achieve her goal.
Eduardo Molina, Jr., who graduates with a 3.5 grade point average, would like to thank his wife, Linda Molina, his sons, Edward and Daniel, and his daughter, Jessica, and Al Valdez, his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Molina, and his granddaughters.
Claudia Morales. Claudia would like to thank her parents, Salvador and Maria Garcia, and her husband, Gustavo Morales.
Shiloh Morrison would like to thank her mom, dad, sisters, and her husband, Albert.
Angela Palmer. Angela would like to thank her mom and grandparents for all their support and encouragement, Ginger for helping her through the tough times, and all the students in our cohort for making it a pleasurable and memorable learning experience.
Nancy Pitts graduates with a 4.0, and she would like to thank her husband, Mark, and her children, Ryan and Sarah.
Oscar D. Romero. Oscar would like to thank his father and mother, and of course, I can't leave out my wonderful sister, Ana Luisa. Feliz Dia de las Madres, Ma. I love you.
Christine M. Ross Trujillo would like to give a special thanks to her mentors, Cecilia Vega, Jean Tasuya, and Claire Wooten for all of their help. To Mike Trujillo, I could have never made it to any of my classes without you. Thanks for keeping everything from falling apart. To my parents, Eugene and Mary Ross, and Consuelo Trujillo, for their love and support. To my brother, Ramiro Tito Ross, for tutoring over the phone. Thanks to my wonderful friends, Margot, Stella, Maria, and Eddie. Could not have done it without you. To my children, Alexis, Christina, and Miguel Angel, I am so lucky to have you in my life. Thanks for putting up with everything in the last 6 years. And this is what she writes that I really like. This grad's for you.
Terry Shoko. Terry would like to thank her husband, Keith, and daughters, Andrea and Candace, for tolerating my late night studying, and my family and friends who believed I could get through it.
Shirley Skaggs writes, first, I would like to give honor and glory to God. Second, I would like to thank my husband, Derek, for his love, support, and encouragement. I would like to thank my cooperating teacher, Mrs. Betty Davis, for being an excellent mentor and allowing me to work beside her and trusting me to teach her students. Also, I would like to thank Mrs. Joy Mims for generously providing me with teaching resource materials. I would like to thank Mrs. Connie Johnson for her professionalism and for treating me like a Meyer staff member. Finally, I would like to thank my student teacher supervisor, Mrs. Jackie Schmidt, for both inspiration and constructive observations.
Lynn L. Tompkins. Lynn would like to thank her mother, sisters, family, and friends. Thanks for everything.
Maria M. Antalan graduates with a 4.0. She would like many thanks for everyone's support and encouragement, and many thanks to her classmates, the staff at the University of Arizona South and Sierra Charter School. She wants to send hugs and kisses to her daughter, Cinnamon, her son-in-law, Chris, granddaughter, Brittany, son, Jay, daughter-in-law, Sarah, and granddaughter, Emma, for their encouragement from out of state. Special hugs and kisses to her family at home, daughter, Brianne, Sean, and husband, Joe, for enduring test stress, midnight supply runs to Walmart, for doing chores, making meals, and continually reminding me that I would not be happier working at Burger King. She says, "You are the wind beneath my wings."
Patricia M. Scales. Patricia would like to thank for their support and encouragement to David Scales, Mr. and Mrs. Bob Best, Mr. and Mrs. H.V. Leisner, Tom Fielding, and Mike Lloyd, especially to her son Ashton, who endured the most and trusted that this day would come. She says, I love you.
Vincente Eduardo Abril would like to thank Margaret Grady and his parents, Manuel and Anna Abril. In addition, he would like to extend an appreciation to the Douglas School District for allowing him to student teach at the high school.
Gabriel Ortiz. Gabriel would like to thank his wife, Erica, and son, Gabriel, for all their love and support. He would also like to thank Dr. Sheldon and Mrs. Spencer for helping me through my final year here at U of A South.
Carol Pedroza writes, I want to thank my mother, Gloria Rodriguez, to whom I owe everything, and to Alma Espinoza for being so understanding.
James R. Pearson, Jr. James says, I truly appreciate the time and effort expended by the staff and faculty of U of A South and Buena High School to helping those of us who are attempting to obtain our degrees. I also appreciate the support and patience of my family.
Anita Bickler writes, I would like to acknowledge the UA staff, my family, and friends who are in the audience. Mahalo Nui Loa for celebrating with me today. Banzai.
Richard Russo. Richard would like to thank his family, friends, and co-workers.
Justin Capos would like to thank Dr. Homer, Dr. Ziza, Barb Smith, Mona, and John for keeping the lab open late.
Jameson Allen Christian would like to thank his parents, Robert and Cherie Christian, and best friend, Angela Rowe.
Tanya Fernandez would like to thank her family for all of their support. She graduates with a 4.0.
Fernando Caballero. I would like to thank my parents for giving me the benefit of the doubt and being there for me. My uncles who always gave me a hand when I needed it. Everybody I have met during my stay in the United States who has made me see and feel this strange and foreign country like my own. Thank you. Gracias.
David LeClaire. He writes, thank you to my instructors Barb Smith and Ray Phibbs for their enthusiasm for mathematics and computer science. My parents for all of their support and love of education. My brother Chip for always being there, listening to my complaints and sharing marathon study sessions. My computer for not crashing too often.
Angela Rowe. Angela would like to thank her family and friends and Dr. Homer.
Michael P. Smith would like to thank his mom and dad and his family. He also would like to give a special thanks to Folgers Colombian Coffee, for without you, I would not be graduating today.
Faith Butler. Faith would like to thank the following people for their support in helping her continue her education. Her husband, mom and dad, grandparents, and her brother.
Marla Renee Davis graduates with a 3.9. She would like to thank her mom and dad, Jared, Bo, and all her family and friends for their support.
Faith M. Jackson. Faith would like to thank her husband, Roger Jackson, for all his support, daughter, Marjorie, and all of her professors. Her GPA was 3.75.
Elizabeth Perea graduates with a 3.95. She would like to thank her parents for their support, her children for their patience, Mark for his persistence, and all her friends without whom this could not be possible.
Tony J. Smith. Tony would like to thank her husband, Barry Smith, for his continued love and support, my mom, who lives in Sierra Vista, and dad, who flew in from Heidelberg, Germany.
Would like to thank her family for support and understanding. Dr. Mary Lee Sheldon for her help and support all throughout her education from the start. Thanks to her classmates, quote, you know who you are, unquote. Lastly, to Mona and Nina for their support. P.S. Thank God for Dr. Bissell for saving us.
Rosalind Ignacio Bertrand. She would like to thank her father and mother, Rustico and Rosalind Ignacio, and her family and friends.
Ralph Palmer would like to thank his parents, his family, and friends for their undying support. Marcy Johnson, a member of Kappa Oh, my Craig, new NHS, I'm sorry, I mispronounced that. I would like to thank my wonderful husband, Craig. See, I got to read this one because that's her wonderful husband, Craig. Her 2 kids, Zachary and Liberty, who have been very patient. Her mom and dad for supporting her, and her good friend, Sarah, for watching her kids when she had to study. Thank you. I love you guys.
Alma Tamayo. Alma would like to thank her parents for their support and Kathleen Wells for being a great teacher. Special thanks also to all my friends who encouraged me.
And finally, Karen Gunn, who would like to thank her husband, Jeff, and her 2 sons, Quentin and Ian.
Would those students receiving a degree of Master of Arts please rise? Mr. Provost, it is my honor to present to you those candidates who have satisfied the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts.
By the authority vested in me by the President and by the Arizona Board of Regents, I confer upon each of you the Master of Arts degree as recommended by the faculty of the university. In accordance with usual custom, you as individuals are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to your degree here and elsewhere. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Would all those receiving Bachelor of Arts in Education, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and Bachelor of Science in Family Consumer Resources please rise? That's all the rest of you. Mr. Provost, it is my honor to present to you those candidates who have satisfied the requirements for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Education, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, and Bachelor of Science in Family and Consumer Resources.
By the authority vested in me by the President and by the Arizona Board of Regents, I confer upon each of you the appropriate bachelor's degree. I don't think I can recite the whole list. As recommended by your faculty of this university. In accordance with usual custom, and there is a lot of custom in these affairs, you as individuals are entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain to your degree here and elsewhere. Congratulations.
Please be seated.
You will note on your program that this portion of the ceremony is labeled Final Remarks. I bet you're really glad. A couple of things before you go. We have some thank yous to issue. We want to thank Dr. Renee Humberg and the Sierra Vista School District for allowing us the use of their facilities and for helping us with our program as in past years. We'd like to thank Rick Klein and the Buena Stage Band for performing for us. We would like to thank Jacqueline Klein for her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. We would like to thank all our guests on the podium who have made a special effort to be here today. Thank you for coming to share our celebration. Finally, and perhaps most important, we would like to thank the UAS faculty and staff for all the work that they have done on behalf of this celebration and all of the events leading up to it. College professors can never resist getting in the last word. Let me venture to guess that for most of you, this day represents the fulfillment of years of striving. The ceremony represents the culmination of your hopes. And this moment represents what you've been waiting for. Let's get out of here and party. Not so fast. A couple of things before you go. Let me tell you that you are now alumni. And the phrase from here on in becomes, ask not what your university can do for you, ask what you can do for your university. As of this fall, you'll start being hit up for donations. Count on it, you're alums. You've earned the right to contribute. Don't forget that there is a reception for you at the public meeting room on campus. Go over and hoist a glass of punch and have a couple of cookies with your friends. It may be a long time before you all get them together again. And finally, you're our grads. We're proud of you. We wish you the very best. Now go out there and make us glad we turned you loose on the world. We would request that you stand for the recession.